guys, welcome to another episode. For this episode, I think we're going to talk about AI. Is AI taking your job, or is AI going to replace you, or is it just a whole bunch of overhyped topic as usual? Okay, so about me. So I'm the CEO and founder of Monesave. So what is Monesave? As usual, this is your first time. Monesave is a payment ring, a smart payment ring, where you can monitor your fitness, which you need to have if you're gonna be healthy, look after yourself. You need to know your metrics, key metrics of sleep, fitness, work. And also you'd need to obviously make payments to your ring. You can make payments to your ring, which is better than using your phone, again, because of security these days, and also your wallet. Just no need carrying your wallet and phones around when you can simply just tap to pay. So we provide a platform to our customers. And as a CEO and founder, I want to make sure I'm here for our customers to talk to you guys, hear from me directly, and also show how much I care. Again, this is about spending time with customers and just seeing that we're there for you. And if you have any questions, again, as usual, I'm always here. We'll call it a diary of a founder. So I'm always here, have a lot of comments, questions, and address every issue you have. Now for today, I think, as we said, we're going to discuss AI. People have different opinions. Obviously, it's a burning topic today. So a lot of people want to talk about AI. Everyone has an opinion. Some people are throwing money and everything at it. Other people just believe it's the future. It's here to stay. Other people are scared of it, And I think my idea then, again, again, this is my opinion. Obviously, it also impacts how we at Orukka behave. Again, we're doing this real time. So I'm not one of those who maybe started a business some time ago and then maybe we're considering it, closing it down or anything. No, no, no. We're doing this now. And also, obviously, I've worked in banking for several years, about 17 years. So I have that experience that I bring to the table and I know these things. So in truth, I think, again, banking has always had AI. Okay, no matter what they say, it's only become mainstream now. So I can tell you I worked in Switzerland and most of the trading floors. So again, if you look at your bank, right, and there is a front office which deals with trading and selling, dealing with customers, and we have the back office for reconciliation and middle office basically for booking of trades. Now, those in the front office have always used AI, in fact, I think about 80% to 90% of transactions for equities, or buying and selling, was mostly done on AI. So it's nothing new. If you go to your phones or your cars as well, or your phones, it's always used AI. Okay, so I can tell you right now, most cars, if you go in, I think most modern cars, it's always been there whereby the car will take a decision for you if the pedestrian or someone walks across the road. It immediately hits the brake. That's AI, and that's where we're going. So there's a lot of talk about AI these days as if it's never been there or if it's brand new. It's not brand new. It's always been there. It's a topic that has been for a while. There's been investment. There's been topics on this before. But then if you look at the amount of money pouring into it, everyone knows it just doesn't make sense, right? And we've been through this before. Everything is this, and there's nothing new under the sun. So I can tell you this happened with the bubble.com bubble years ago, where if you had .com on your email or .com on your website, your valuation just goes through the roof. Like people want to pay millions, they want to drop money at you. It's the same now. Yeah, there's nothing new. So I can tell you right now, if you put AI behind your name, if you're a startup, people are just going to give you money. And it's a lot. You can tell them as well. I mean, I was looking at one recent, I think it was called, I don't want to call it, actually, I'll call their name, it's Magic.ai. So Magic AI is a mirror. It's just like a Peloton mirror, but it uses AI. Based on that, they're worth millions already. So my question then is, is it different from Lululemon and the mirrors that we had before? The same shape, same workout, same conversation, but in truth, it's an AI feature which I think has brought up the valuation there. People are over investing in AI, and we know that's the truth, right? There's a lot of money being thrown at it, whether the valuations stack up or not, whether there's a return at all or not, we don't know. Or which the people are not waiting to hear whether there's new returns coming in there. So that's key for us. Where if you realize that, then it makes you think twice on the whole topic of AI. And obviously, the people that are screaming the most are actually the people who have invested this money in. So if you look at the top guys, screaming about the end of the world from AI, is the people who've got the money. So they're like, hey, my God, AI is so dangerous. The Chinese are going to take over the world if we don't do it. Okay, and by the way, just give us money. It's almost like a snake oil, salesman, where you can tell, right? Always abstract. So if someone is selling something to you, and then for some reason they're also charging you, and then they believe it's the biggest thing possible, and they're selling it as biggest thing possible. It's possibly not the biggest thing possible. I'm not saying you should trivialize the topic, but I just think that if someone is selling a company for 500 billion and they've raised a few million already and they continue to raise, obviously you can expect them to say that this is the next big thing that is so dangerous, it's going to end the world. And that's something to look at. Is it going to wear off? Has it worn off in the past? I think so. And then let's look at this, again, in terms of the question that came through, I think from my team. So, by the way, my team, anybody can ask questions. If you have any questions, just put it in the comments. I'll come back and I'll reply. We also have comments. I think we're putting this on Shopify, what do you call it, Spotify, and a few other platforms as well. Again, it's simple Q&A. So, if you have any questions, let us know. But one question I think that's been asked so far has always been, is it possible for us to be replaced by AI? And that's clear because it's something you get concerned about. And it's been the case always, right? So if you look at the agricultural revolution, everyone used to be a farmer those days, okay? You had to get up and work in a farm. And then we had millions of people who worked in farms, okay? So what happened, right? So with the industrial revolution, we had machines. So suddenly you don't need so many people working on the farm. So those people lost their jobs. And that's the truth, okay? So when there's a revolution, you can expect there to be a seismic change in terms of people working on those jobs, and possibly jobs that would go as a result. So those are important things to consider and know that it's going to happen. Okay, so what do you do if you're a farmer those days? Well, maybe you stop working on picking crops. You also look at machineries and see how you can operate machineries, because you will need that going forward, right? So that's key. Where in the industrial revolution you needed that. Well, going up as well to the cars, right? So those days, if you walked in, if you're in New York or wherever, right, most of those places were full of horses. Okay, we had millions of horses. I think 30 million horses in circulation back in the 15th, 16th century. And what do we have now? They're all gone. So now you have, cars. And oh wait, if you clean the horses, if you're a horse rider, if you're a carriage rider, if you're selling carriages, all those are gone. Okay, so what's happened now? Guess what? You've got cars in their place. You've got mechanics, you've got garages, you've got new jobs coming in that is needed to service that industry. Okay, so that again, if you look at that, that's history. Okay, it's always happened. Number one, if you look at those history, right, it's clear not to, that you can't see the new job. Okay, that's coming in, but what you do know is that you need to upskill, you need to learn because it's coming. Okay, and that's AI for you as well. Same thing. You can get up today and we don't know already. I can tell you most jobs are gone. Okay, so already, right? So if you were if you're a P, and I'll talk about what skills you need, right, to make sure you position yourself. Well, if you're a PA, guess what, most of the PA roles are gone now, because now you have an AI that does your calendar, that does your entry, that also picks up your calls already. Okay, so those most of those jobs are gone. But guess what? Those people have quietly gone on to something else, something more important, something less repetitive, right, or less organizing. So that's important to know that one, it's here already, number one. Number two, as they say, right, AI is not going to replace you. It's people who know about AI that will replace you. So my plea to my customers, okay, on our smart ring, and to people watching this is to make sure that you learn something, okay? Just pick it up, go online these days. You don't have to go to university. And there's a topic, I'm sure there'll be an episode on universities and if it's worth it, okay? So right now, it's even easy. You don't have to go to university. You can go online, go on YouTube for free without paying for a course, and you can learn about AI. So I'll suggest you do, because it's it's a revolution. It's speeding up the revolution. It's speeding up what's going to happen. Is it going to end the world? I don't think so. You can come back and quote me any time, and make sure you don't waste your money on anything funny. I can tell you it's not going to end the world. It will end the world only as much as knives would end the world, or as much as nuclear warheads would end the world, right? So in truth, there are a lot of dangerous things out there. I think that's one thing that's clear. And what do we do then to make sure that that doesn't happen? We make sure humans have control there. We make sure that, again, if there's war, okay, that people come in and there's diplomacy as quickly as possible. Because again, there are nuclear warheads today. We're not investing billions on nuclear war. However, if there's war, immediately people come in and they try and stop it as much as possible, because people have nuclear weapons that can go against each other. That's the same as well with AI. So if AI comes in there, and AI, with the speed of computation and automation, that it's possible for someone to just take over the whole world or down all the aircrafts in the country, anything, or actually put the AI machinery into something that goes ahead and then can destroy, I don't know, the whole house. That's possible. It's possible today, it's possible in the future. Yeah, so it's not something we should all live in fear about. More or less, what you should fear about are the people themselves, so humans, right? Because at the end of the day, AI only does what humans do. So that's key, please. So if there's one message I'd say from here, from myself, again, I have AI in my app. We actually deal with AI. Again, a lot of my employees these days, they come in, they must learn and they must know about AI because they need it and improves their quality of work. But in my opinion, I think nothing is going to stop or ruin the world unless humans. So we would end it. If AI is going to take over the world, that's because a human programmed it. Okay, so fear humans, don't fear AI. I think that's the summary there. And then I think the other question now becomes what would be at risk, right? So I can tell you, looking at your job, think about repetitive tasks. If your job has to do repetition, it's a risk, okay? And it's always been a risk. But, I've been working in banking for the last 17 years, right? And people who know this would know. So we have, again, there's algorithmic trading, which takes over repetitive, taking of orders on the phone. If you're a trader, you're taking orders on the phone constantly and trying to beat the market and understand the market. AI does that immediately now these days, even quicker. So those guys, I can tell you, on the trading floor, and mostly they've been replaced for years. For the last 10 years, they've been replaced consistently because the machine does that quicker, right? So what you don't want to do is to make sure, what you want to do, position yourself, is to be a manager. So if you manage and you don't do repetition, but you do a lot more managing of the process, you will not be replaced. That's what you want to do. So you want to be less a follower and more of a manager. Okay. And that's the same thing with any of our guys who join our team. If you join our team, I would rather you learn to be a manager, to learn to be a leader, than to receive instruction, because computers are going to receive the instructions in the future. That's going to replace you. Do you see what I mean? So that's needed. And I remember making a joke this, and believe it or not, those days, right? Surgeons used to be barbers, believe it or not. So surgeons used to be barbers. So, but that's changed now because suddenly they realize, well, being a barber, you don't need a degree, you don't need to go to medicine, you can just cut your hair, right? So that's different from now. Now you have doctors who really focus and specialize on important, complex tasks relating to, like operations, okay? And then the simpler things about your hair goes to people who are maybe not as qualified. But going forward, I think, speaking of replacement, I think definitely your barbers would not be replaced. So if you're doing things that are creative in nature, so barbing, drawing, painting, things like that, you will not be replaced. So it's important to focus on that. If you have any skill, you want to go towards creative angle. So again, I'm in my kids' art room here, right? And if you do that a lot, that's what we need to do as humans. We need to focus on those creative parts of our lives. And the other thing I think which is needed as well is poetry, right? So, poetry I don't think will be replaced. You can go online today and I think AI would go in and try and copy poetry. Now you can tell it's copied because again it has to be done in the style of a human. Okay, and it has to be done on a bank of information that it already knows and has trained itself about. So that's the truth, right? So nothing is going to replace the thoughts, okay, on literary nature, on pose that we have as humans. That's needed. Speaking of humans as well, the other point that you'll not be replaced is if you're an athlete. So if you're an athlete, if you're a fighter, so people who fight, boxing, MMA, things like that, you will not be replaced. Because at the end of the day, I think as humans, we want to see other humans fight. You could watch or you could see two bots racing that makes not little or more or no difference to you. I'll tell you what, if you see two animals fighting, if you see two humans fighting, you will either stop to watch if it's a boxing match, or you'll make sure you try and separate them. So that's key, and that's something in the future that I don't think will be replaced. If you're an athlete, if you run, if you keep fit and focus on things like that, you will not be replaced by AI. Again, there's going to be AI that will support you and help going forward, but you will not need that. One more thing I think that would definitely not be replaced are managers. So if you're a manager or a leader, then you will not be replaced because obviously all the repetitive tasks, I think I mentioned that at the start, those repetitions will be done by a machine. If if you work in a bank or a teller and all you do was just to stamp letters and post it out, you've already been replaced, in the last few years. If you're not yet replaced, then AI would replace you completely because things like that are repetitive in nature. However, if you're a leader or a manager where you actually manage a process, you understand the process and know what goes where and are good at troubleshooting they're good at managing and talking to people or robots, then that'll be needed going forward. So those are key, I think, and there's more, okay? That's just up top of my head. Those are key criteria, right? But if you're doing the same thing over and over again, then definitely that'll be replaced. Then I'll just go into the Q&A and see what any other questions here. So there was also a question here around my team, if they'll be replaced. So I'm not saying this because my team's watching this right now, okay? But I don't see my team being replaced. And I've said this already. I feel sorry for large companies and corporations like, again, with Amazon, they did that where they just hired a lot of people. And then guess what? A few weeks, months later, they had to fire them all, either because of AI or because they overhired. And it was the same thing with, I think, is it Duolingo as well, one of those, translation sites. They had that, and guess what? They replaced most of them with AI, which is not good. It's quite negative. And number one. Number two, most companies are always aggressive in terms of cost cutting. We're a startup, so we're a small enough company, and we know exactly what our customers want. We've only launched, so we're effectively a small startup. But what's important for us is since we've launched during the start of the AI, we know exactly what we need in terms of human workforce. And what also that also means is that we hire a new team member, we look out for automation. You need that going forward, and there's no point having 10 people who do manual updates. And at the end of the day, you train one person on AI, then 9 people will be out of the job, right? So what we do is we get one person who's very good at AI, we allow them time to train, learn about automation, and then they can go ahead and then set up those processes and then manage those processes. So that's key, and I think that's how companies should be structured going forward. So again, just looking at questions here, one last question, I think I'll handle that one now, is also around should you invest in AI? Okay. Should you invest in any AI company? That's as bad as saying should you buy crypto right now? Okay, so we know crypto was really really cheap in the years ago. If only you knew, you'd have ordered, you'd have jumped in. Again, there's a whole episode on crypto and what we think about it, and Monesave, what I think about it personally. But we do know for a fact, and I said this from the start as well, AI is really overvalued at the moment, grossly overvalued. And so I don't think you should buy out of the box, go ahead and invest in AI, unless for some reason you have a good value proposition. And there are a lot of copycats out there. It takes a second to spin an app these days. So you can spin an app, put an AI on it, and that's it. If you have a product that is exactly identical and then all they have is I don't think you should invest in it. And that being said, it's hard to know which is which. So my opinion and what I usually do is to go for the most simple, boring thing. So if you look at what we do at Orukka, we're boring and boring sells. Okay, I think it was Warren Buffett who said that. So Warren Buffett again invests in very simple things. He invests in Apple, okay, because he saw Apple and said, "Hey, Apple is a phone. People are going to need phone 100 years from now. You're watching this on a phone. Invest in that." Invested in Coke. So Coca-Cola again, same thing. You're always going to need to drink Coca-Cola at some point, or Pepsi, one of those, Fanta, you're going to drink that. So what does that mean? You invest in that because it's simple. You go for the crux of the matter. Do we need what you're selling? If so, then you invest in it. If you need, for our rings, do we need a ring? Yes, because your phone is going to die. When this phone is dead and you have to get a train, what do? You get your rings. Let me see. What else again? Your phone. Someone robs your wallet. What do you need? Your phone or your ring. Yeah, because again, your phone would always be there, but the battery dies. People could rob it. It's very risky these days. I think if you head out to a metropolitan city, you have 66% chance of your phone getting snatched. That's crazy in terms of numbers. Yeah, so for us, I think it's important to just go for convenience. And if something is convenient enough, you love convenience. So if you have payment on your fingertips, that's better than having a payment in your pocket, on your phone, or you have to do a Face ID, which used to be convenient, but now is no longer convenient because you can have it in your fingertips. So that I'll suggest that people go ahead and invest in us if you wanted to, or just buy a ring and join our community of users. So that's it from me. That's it for this episode. Thanks once again. I said, myself as CEO, I'll always be here. I think I call it the diary of a founder. So please join us. I would love to spend time as much as possible. If your bank CEO does this, then that's a good bank. You should stay with your bank. If your bank CEO doesn't do this, then you need to ask what he's doing with his time. If he's talking to investors, then he cares about investors and doesn't care about you. So join us, and join our community of users. Bye. See you in the next one.